All right. Welcome to Fantasy 365, guys. This is my main man, Jesse, over here. We are arch enemies in our fantasy league. Happy to have him on here. He is also the defending champ. And I'm happy to have you on the show, man. How you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
All right. Let's get into it. Today, we're going to do the top 6 sleepers. He's got 3. I got 3. He's going to convince me bust or breakout. Let's go to the first one.
First off, let's go tight ends. I'm gonna say
Who we got?
Mason Taylor,
Right.
tight end for the New York Jets. So this is Mason Taylor's second year, right? Drafted out of LSU. They got a new quarterback in New York, right? Geno Smith is coming back. He's played there before. He's coming back. Mason Taylor showed flashes of brilliance last year. I think he's positioned for a potential breakout season. So he had I don't want to say an underwhelming rookie year because he was hampered by a neck injury and he had really, really inconsistent quarterback play. So I'm not going to say he underwhelmed, but I do think he's going to see an increased target share as a top young option in the Jets offense. And I would say I've read a lot about it. I could be way off, could be spot on, but I think he's going to end up massively over projecting when it comes to expectations for what people think Mason Taylor. I think I've seen his tight end rank anywhere from like 20 to 25 on ESPN and Yahoo. I think he's going to be much better than that. Tight ends, and my other justification is that tight ends often break out in their second to third season. In recent years, we've seen a plethora of examples of rookie tight ends who struggled but then have exploded onto the scene in their second year, maybe even third year. Some names that come to mind would be like Trey McBride, TJ Hawkinson, Tucker Kraft, Evan Ingram, Mark Andrews, right? All these non-first round guys had super quiet years and then more than doubled their production from a fantasy perspective in their second or third year. So I'm not going to go on rambling, but I would say my sleeper for the tight end position this year is going to be Mason Taylor. I think you can get him very late. I'm talking rounds 9, 10, 11, 12. And I think he's going to be posed for a lot of high EV plays.
Right now, 178. So he's definitely up there. He's actually the highest on our board today. So in that range of like,
All right, good start.
he had 65 targets, 369 receiving yards, 1 touchdown, 91% route participation when he was on the field.
That is a great stat. I didn't even know that.
That's number 3 for the position, 91%.
That's great.
Respect the grind and subscribe so we can build this thing together.
Fantasy points wise, 6.8 per game.
Not good. Not great.
29th overall.
Yeah, not good.
Do with him getting hurt.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into the doubts a little bit on him in a second. Here's another thing. I found this stat. You're not gonna like it.
No.
3% drop rate. That is the number 1 in the league. Now, the one thing I will tell you is when speaking to Aaron Glenn, which you talked about, head coach, about Mason Taylor, the reporter came in and was like, hey, give me a player that you think is going to have a great year. What's a breakout candidate? And he said, as you mentioned, Mason Taylor. They were doing an exit interviews and they sat down and Mason Taylor went through and critiqued himself on every single thing that he needs to do to get better for this 2026 season. And I guarantee you at the top of the list, it's ranked number 1 in drop rate.
Yep. I probably agree.
It is what it is. You can't drop the football.
Can't drop it.
What do you see as the problem for him being a breakout tight end for this year?
Yeah, I'd say drop rate, you nailed. I think the Jets in general are just not that good of a team. I did mention second and third year seems to be where tight ends really hit their stride. It could be he's developing still. I obviously don't have too many doubts on any of the guys I'm going to say, or I wouldn't really be saying them. But I would say your drop rate and just the fact that the Jets don't seem to have a high functioning offense seems to be, some concern.
6.8 fantasy points last year. Where do you think he's going to be? You think he's breakout candidate for this year based on everything we've put together?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to put up top 5, NFL top 5, NFL top 10 tight end numbers, but I do think he's going to be significantly better than what you said, the 29th, right? Best tight end to some extent from an average points per game. I'm going to put him in the tight end 10 to 15 range this year. I think that's where he falls. And again, I don't think that makes him an elite tight end right now. But I do think from the perspective of a sleeper, there is significant value to getting Taylor.
If you're a fantasy manager right now, are you drafting a tight end early and putting him on the bench.
I would say Mason Taylor is a healthy option to have on your roster, and you could burn a roster spot on him as a backup tight end. Absolutely, yeah.
I don't like the offense. I think he's going to have 4 or 5 touchdowns for the year. A bunch of 6 receptions, 47 yards with nothing attached to it. He's going to be a bust this year, man.
All right, man.
Now, our second sleeper of the day, my guy, I'm going with Parker Washington. Jacksonville Jaguars, a rising security blanket for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They added Jacoby Myers. We had 95 targets last year. We had 58 receptions, 847 yards, 5 TDs, 8th in deep pass ball rate, by the way. And in fantasy points, he was 11.5 per game, ranked top 31. Now, in the last 4 games of the season, he averaged 10.3 targets per game. He averaged 113 yards, 3 touchdowns. And like I said, the last 4 games, 10 targets, 10 targets, 9 targets, 14 targets. We're hearing Travis Hunter is going to be full-time corner next year. We have Jacoby Myers that did come in. He played more of the flank last year and not the slot. The slot is where Liam Cohen likes to live. That's where Trevor Lawrence likes to throw. And I'm thinking Trevor Lawrence, I'm thinking not necessarily the deep ball, the X wide receiver, the outside wide receiver in BTJ. I know that's a factor. Actually, in 2024, when Lawrence was playing with BTJ, BTJ averaged 5.9 targets per game, 66 yards. When he got hurt, Mac Jones came in. BTJ averaged 10 targets, 6.5 catches, and 89 yards. So BTJ, we know, didn't have a great year. We have Jacoby Myers coming in. We have Travis Hunter looking like he's going to be playing full-time cornerback next year. I'm sure they'll throw packages in for him, but they love him. They love him in Jacksonville. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I like him as a sleeper pick because I think he's the perfect definition of someone that no one's thinking about that might do good. So I am more in agreement with you than disagreement. There are 2 things that concern me about Parker Washington as someone who has or will have high production. The first is that I think it's a pretty crowded wide receiver room. You mentioned the Jacoby Myers acquisition. I think BTJ is going to bounce back and have a much better year than he did last year. I think those are 2 really good options that are going to be Trevor Lawrence's first read and second read most percent of the time. I just think that Parker Washington, while he probably did see an increased amount of targets and like you mentioned, numbers towards the end of last year, I don't know if that's going to be the case this year. And I don't know if it's going to be sustainable because you do have 2 very talented wide receivers that currently exist in the Jaguars now. That one they went out and got, and 2 it's their drafted guy from 3 years ago, which is their best option at wide receiver. I would also argue that I don't know if Jacksonville's offense is going to replicate the same type of success this year that it had last year. So the Jags have historically been a pretty bad team in recent years. They were not last year. They were a very good team last year. But will they be able to sustain that offensive firepower that they had last year? It's TBD, right? You're looking at some offenses that every year they're just going to pound the ball, right? Like the Chiefs when they had their epic dynasty run every year, you knew what to expect. You knew they were going to kill it. So will the Jags replicate something like they did last year? We'll have to see. I am more in alignment with you than disalignment, but those would be my doubts for Parker Washington potentially as a sleeper.
Which wide receiver do you trust the least in this offense going into next year?
Probably Parker Washington.
You
I
do?
mean, like I mentioned, yeah,
You
like I
think
mentioned.
BTJ has a bounce back year?
I do. Yeah, I do. I think last year was his sophomore slump. I think he'll be much better this year, much more aligned to his rookie numbers. Again, they traded for Myers, so you're not going to trade for a guy and then not utilize him. So by default, that puts Washington as the wide receiver 3.
We're seeing, by the way, Parker Washington is sitting at 76 overall. So we're not talking about him being, the one right out the gate. We're talking, later round sleepers. So, with Parker Washington, are you thinking busts this year, not able to replicate what he did at the last 4 games of the season? Or are we saying breakout potential?
I wish I could put him in the middle.
Put him in the middle. That's okay.
Let's do a little bit of both. I could see him being a little bit of both.
Okay. So I agree with you. I think he's not going to be a bust or a breakout. I think he's going to have a solid 7 targets a game. Probably maybe 6 to 6.
I bet he has lower than 7. Yeah, I was going to say, I bet he has lower than 7.
I think they really trusted him there for a stretch. But yeah, that's Parker Washington. Let's move on to the next one. Third sleeper of the day is my guy, Isaiah Likely. He was with Baltimore. He was with Harbaugh. Was behind Andrews. Harbaugh goes to the Giants. He takes Isaiah Likely next year. This year with him. 37 targets last year, 27 receptions, 307 yards, an ADOT score, average up to target of 9th, 7.9 yards. He averaged 4.4 fantasy points last year, and currently he's ranked 85th on the depth chart. He signed a 3-year deal. He is, I think it's 40 million. 40 million, 47 upside $1 million contract. I see Jackson Dart, who they don't want him to get hurt. They may take another running back. I think Scadaboo will likely be ready to go. We'll talk about Malik Neighbors on another episode. He's coming off an ACL. First round pick, early second. No thanks on Malik Neighbors this year. That's just me. But Darius Slayton, Theo Johnson, Darnell Mooney, which you had a little bit of Darnell Mooney last year.
A little bit. I think I had him for a week or two. I think I streamed him.
I'm seeing a clear path to opportunity for Isaiah Likely. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so Likely's probably the best one that you picked that I'm going to agree with. And I like Likely for a few reasons. The first is you already mentioned it. Harbaugh took him right with him, right? So that basically indicates a high level of trust, right? You got a coach who brings a player from his old system in. The default there is he's going to rely on him. So I like his upside. I like his potential. I think Harbaugh will integrate him. I mean, he ran 2 tight end sets, with the Ravens as it relates to production, as it relates to catch. I mean, Mark Andrews had some good games, Likely had some good games. I think obviously over the course of the year, Mark Andrews finished as tight end 1 on that team, but Likely had some really, really big games. So I like him for the fact that he's clearly been trusted. I also like him on the Giants because I don't think there's a whole lot of receiving options. We don't know what Neighbors is going to look like post-injury. You mentioned Theo Johnson. You mentioned Slayton. Very, very inconsistent play from them across the year. I would say there's a perfect opportunity for Likely to really establish himself and get in on that target share. So I like him. I think he's going to be the truth of your sleepers here. He's probably my favorite of the bunch that you picked. And I think he has a very good year.
I think, like I said, I don't see if the head coach is bringing him with him from another team and is on record saying he's certain Likely is going to be a huge breakout candidate. I think we're in unison on this one. It's not a breakout year. I'm wanting every bit I can get of Isaiah Likely around that 85 ADP pick right now, and I'll take that all day. We are moving on to our fourth sleeper of the day. Your boy, your second sleeper.
I'm going to go with Jalen McMillan. All right. So there are a few reasons for this one. So I think he's ranked the 63rd best wide receiver. I want to say he's not even ranked in the top 120 or 125. So this is his 3rd year, drafted out of Washington. So his rookie campaign, I thought he was a TD machine. I think he had 8 his rookie campaign, which was great. Injured as hell last year. So he missed, I think the whole dang year. But basically, you got a situation now with Tampa Bay where Mike Evans is gone, who is the outright wide receiver 1. That leaves Godwin and Ibuka. I think that a ton of attention is going to be paid on Ibuka, who had a very good rookie year. So I think defenses are going to watch tape, are going to really hone in on him. I think that Jalen McMillan is very young still. I think he's a just excellent wide receiver in general. And another big indicator for this one is the Bucs are projected to have a losing record. I've been seeing different projections, but anywhere from 3rd to 4th best team in our division. I almost paused you when you said my boy. I was like, I'm not going to have a Tampa Bay guy be my boy. I'm Panthers. But yeah, I think he will have a much better year than people think. I would also add that because I think the Bucs are going to have a terrible year, I think their game script is going to be negative, and I think they're going to have to throw a lot. I think Baker is going to be forced to throw quite a good bit. I think they're going to be behind in games. I just think the setup now opens the door for McMillan having a potential very, very good year. And again, that's not to say he will, but I think the writing is on the wall for him to step up and have a much better campaign than probably people think. And again, for our audience, the intent here is sleepers. Where can you get value in later picks? That's not to say McMillan is going to be wide receiver 10 or wide receiver 15. He may end up still even being the wide receiver 3 or wide receiver 2 on that team. But I do think he will considerably outperform his projections now by a long shot. And those are my justifications for it.
Do you think Ibuka and Godwin will stay healthy throughout the season?
Well, that's a great question as well, too. Godwin is incredibly injury prone, one. And two, Ibuka missed a ton of games last year as well, too. So I don't know. I think that opens the door for McMillan as well, too, if any one of them go down. So that only adds, more interest to this particular situation where we say, oh, hey, could he have a more heavy role? Could, his influence be bigger? Could he play a larger part in the Bucks offense? We'll see, but I think he's my second sleeper of the day.
They talk about Mike Evans being gone, the coaching staff talking about in the offseason that they need a player that can go up and just go get that ball. You're looking at them. They do have playmakers. I do think there's going to be some target competition. So the percent may be there, but we're talking about a flex player for you that you're probably looking at 5 to 6 touchdowns. Once again, probably 6 receptions, 50, 60 yards, and you're hoping for that flex spot that he gets a touchdown on the week that you play him. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I probably would agree with all that. I think those numbers sound about right on average. Again, we'll have to see, but that's probably where I would put him for the year.
155, Jalen McMillan. I think we're both looking at fourth his position.
He'll be better than that. I think.
There's no way Godwin and Ibuka stay healthy. Godwin more so, but I think there's an opportunity as long as Baker stays healthy. We're going to see some opportunities for him throughout the season.
All right, so this is my last one of the day. This is probably the most controversial of them for is he a sleeper, is he not? But I define him as a sleeper. I'm going to go Zach Charbonnet, Seattle running back.
Why Charbonnet?
All right, so Charbonnet's overall rank according to Yahoo and ESPN averages like right around that 134 overall. I think he's the first ranked running back, right? It's
Go ahead.
third year drafted out of UCLA. I'm going to go Charbonnet for a few reasons. One, Kenneth Walker just left the Seahawks, and they were in a sort of timeshare, right? A committee model last year. Charbonnet, I think, was more of a goal line guy, and Kenneth Walker sort of got the first down, second down when they were, not in the red zone. But I think he's going to be a bell cow, and I think he's going to be a high volume running back this year. Some stats that I looked at was every year for the last 3 years, his rush attempts, his rush yards, and his rush touchdowns have all increased. I'm talking every year, all 3 of those categories have increased. He's done nothing but go up, 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 up. So I like him as a bell cow this year. I like him as a high volume guy. PFF ranked the Seattle Seahawks offensive line as the 13th best O-line in the league. That also bodes well for a running back of that caliber. I don't know how you look at a running back behind the 13th best offensive line and not think he's going to have a great year. He's the most veteran running back on the team now by default. And I would also argue that the same thing I said for McMillan about Tampa Bay having a negative game script. I think the Seahawks are a damn good team. I think they have a positive game script. I think they're going to go up often. I think they're going to go up early a lot. I think it's going to lead to a lot of attempts for him. I just think that he's going to have a really good year. And when I say good year, I think he's going to probably, of all my sleepers, be the one that pushes to be in that top 10, top 15, probably for their position. I think he fits that category, and I think he's going to be a very good pick, very good value. That's my last guy.
So there's one thing we haven't talked about. He's coming off that injury.
He is coming off that injury, but
we don't know when he's going to be ready.
I've read everything I've read. Seattle is optimistic about his return. We are still literally 5 months out from the start of the season. We'll have to see what injuries hold. It's a fair criticism, but presuming Charbonnet does come back, I think he's in for a monster year.
I think with Kenneth Walker gone, he's going to the Chiefs. I mean, the only doubt right now is his injury position. I mean, I don't really care if they get a running back in the draft. If he's good to go, he's going to be the dude. Yep. So it's still early, but I'm with you. No Kenneth Walker. He's assuming he's ready to go. He's going to have a good year. We'll have one mission in life today. Make you go breakout. Our final sleeper of the day. My very avid Panthers fan on the call with me today. We are going to talk about none other than the guy that has played nothing but 9 rush attempts over his last 2 seasons. He is the number 2, not 3, running back for the Carolina Panthers, in which they are looking to continue to win more games, not play it safe, Bryce Young in his finals year, he'll prove it.
I can't believe I'm going to disagree with this one because I'll be happy if I'm wrong. Believe me, I'll be happy if I'm wrong because that defaults to having Panthers running back success. But I don't see it, man. I just don't see it. I have so many issues with this pick. Jonathon Brooks is coming off multiple ACL tears.
The same knee.
On the same knee. I mean, running backs already have such a short longevity of any offensive position in the league. So their prime real estate window is already the shortest of anyone. You got a guy who's coming off multiple ACL tears. I also would argue the fact that we got AJ Dillon and the fact that we have obviously a very, very good running back in Chuba Hubbard also doesn't bode well for Brooks's attempts. We'll see. We'll have to see. I know they were high on him last year before the injury, but AJ Dillon is not old, right? It's only his it's fifth or sixth year. We got him from the Packers, so he's still a fairly young-ish running back. Chuba Hubbard is my guy. He's my favorite. I've been so high on Chuba Hubbard every year. I told that when we do our in-person draft party. I think the real issue Brooks isn't going to do well is I think Chuba Hubbard's a bell cow. I think he is a high-volume running back. His attempts in 2023 was 240. His rush attempts in 2024 was 250. He only split it last year because Dowdle had such a great 2 or 3, 5 games, and he went, beast mode. Obviously, it ate into Hubbard's time. He had that injury which sort of started, if you remember, the genesis of it all was Hubbard got injured after a little bit. Dowdle took his opportunity, got the starting role. Hubbard took it back towards the end of the year when Dowdle didn't do well. But again, Chuba, and he's great out of the backfield for catching too. He had 40 receptions in 2023. He had 45 in 2024. I don't think there is opportunity for Brooks here to be that guy. I think he might have an okay year by what people expect, but I cannot see him significantly outperforming expectations. Not with Hubbard and not with bringing in Dillon. I don't see it. I would love it to happen, but this is so far beyond the doubt that I say this as a Panthers fan, I just don't see it, man.
You know what I hear of Hubbard for the Panthers? I think of safe. I think of consistency. And then I think of Dave Canales, Mr. What is it? 2 wins, 5 wins, 8 wins last year. I'm thinking of a team that's not going to play it safe. I don't think of Dave Canales playing it safe. Go down. Now, Chuba was hurt. I hear you, buddy, but he came back. Took his when he had his opportunity. We have Brooks. Don't forget what Brooks was. Hear me out. In 2023 at Texas, 1,139 yards, 6.1 yards per carry, 113 yards a game, 187 carries. He had CJ Baxter, a 5-star recruit, expected to be the dude. That season, it started off as a committee, and Brooks, he didn't compete. He took it from a 5-star recruit and this is only a partial season. Comparing that to Jeremiah Love this year, who's 114 yards a game, 1,372 yards, 6.9 yards per carry. This dude is elite. The only issue is I'm hearing, and it's an understandable one. He's had 2 ACL tears in the past 2 years. But know who doesn't forget what type of player this guy is? Dave Canales. He's on record saying that guy can bring whatever he wants because I know who the player he was before those ACL tears, and we want all of it. I don't see Dillon as a running back that a Panthers fan is going to go, oh yeah, that makes us better. He's explosive. I see a grinder that is forgettable.
I don't know. We drafted Trevor Etienne too last year. That other running back, the Etienne other brother. I don't know which one of those running backs, because I don't think we're going to carry 4 running backs on our roster. So I don't know which running back makes the practice squad and which one doesn't. But man, I just think it's a crowded room. I think Brooks' injury history is not going to do well for him. I think the fact that, to both of our points, Hubbard has been so consistent, and the fact that we went out and got Dillon, I don't know, man. I'm hoping I'm wrong on this one, but I probably
go to OTAs and minicamp. They're saying he's on track, and he's not there in the room. They're saying he's there competing.
I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see.
Late rounder. I know we're not agreeing on this one, but
I think he goes undrafted.
For playing it safe this year.
I bet Brooks goes undrafted 95% of fantasy football leagues.
I agree. But
No one's going to touch him. I don't even know if he's going to be gone on free agency.
As a little bit of a Stevenson Henderson potential, maybe not a blue chip version of it, but a budget chip version. And if Brooks comes in and they see even 90% of his explosiveness, it's 6.1 yards per carry. You're going to tell me Dave Canales is going to let that dude sit on the bench? And do you think this offense is explosive right now?
You know what? I do. I do think it's explosive. Yeah, I do think it's explosive. I do. Jalen Coker, Ted McMillan, dude, Chuba Hubbard. Dude, our offense was rolling towards the back half of last year. Did you see both those Rams games? We look good.
All right. I'm just saying, you think there's a scenario where this guy, he's 90% is going to ride the pine based off of what he was before those tears?
I don't.
Go ahead.
I don't see it. I don't see it. I want to be wrong. Believe me, I want to be wrong, man. But I don't. I think you got
me put bust. Oh man, closed on Sundays in our league is going to have a heart attack.
Yeah, I'm gonna go bust on this one, man.
You're gonna go bust.
Bust.
All right, Jesse. This is our top 6 sleepers for this episode. You want to have the final take?
My final take would be for our viewers and our audience. Comment. Let us know what you guys think. Share us some feedback. Post it. Let us know.
It's going to be a bust after everything we just spoke about.
Come on, man. I really don't like saying it as a Panthers fan. Don't make me say it twice. I can't see it. I mean, I hope I'm wrong.
All right. Well, until the next time, this is Fantasy 365. See you in the next one.
Later, guys.